We'll start, as we always do, with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, and we do have some changes on our committee. First, I want to welcome Kelly. She's our newest addition to our board. So welcome.
Thank you.
Happy to have you.
I'm very excited to join.
For a split second, we had a full board, but unfortunately, Caitlin Little has resigned. She has a lot going on in her world, and this job does require quite a bit of commitment. So, while we're very sad to hear that Caitlin is leaving us, we understand the busy life, and I just wanted to say thank you to her. She's put in several years on this board. She went through several changes in both this board and administration, and she was kind of the constant throughout. So it was really helpful to have somebody constant as we changed and fluxed a little. And she was also on several boards. She was on the Collaborative for Educational Services. She also reported for PI, among other subcommittees, and so we will miss her, and it's a big hole to fill. So hopefully as we reorganize, we can think about that, and hopefully if there's somebody else in the community that feels has an interest in joining this board, we encourage you to reach out. You can reach out to Beth, you can reach out to me, you can reach out to Shannon, or Brian Smith at the town hall. All of us are in communication with each other. And so we would love to have a full board. So we are looking for one more member to join our happy little family here. So with that, we're going to move on. We have reorganization up before public hearing, but I just wanted to make sure we didn't have any public hearing. It does not look like we have any, so I'm going to go ahead and switch that order and just go back to reorganization at this point. So as we do every year, we have an opportunity to reorganize our committee. We do it regardless of whether we have new members or not. We happen to have a new member and a loss of a member, but all of the positions are up, and as are our subcommittees. So we will be doing several different votes tonight for various subcommittees, as well as our positions on this board. Or this committee. So, Shannon, will you take over so that we can do the first one, which will be chair?
I certainly will.
Okay.
So we will go through, as Mackenzie said, every position. We'll start with, the format will be a nomination, a second, then if there's any discussion, and then a vote. And so we'll start with the chair, so that I can give up this job really quickly. So the chair will obviously preside over the meetings. The chair is responsible for also having one of the seats on the JSC, and is typically part of the negotiations process.
What is JSC? Just for clarification?
The Joint Supervisory Committee.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, the joint supervisory. Yeah, there are. I believe you have 3 voting members, but one is designated that the chair of each individual district does serve as part of that board.
I asked the question for
No, and I appreciate that. I should be more
You may not know.
cognizant of that.
Okay.
Sure.
Could I start by asking a question?
Absolutely.
Mark, do you have an interest in being chair?
No, I'm a chair of another committee, and I'd rather, particularly right now, keep it at just one.
Okay. And may I ask our newest member if you have experience? Maybe you have an interest. I would cover the bases, but...
I do not have an interest
okay.
yet. I'm too fresh to have an interest in that position.
Okay.
Indeed, yeah.
And that's expected, and that's fine. I would like to nominate Mackenzie to be continuing chair if she would accept doing that. I think she does a great job, but I certainly don't want to do it right now.
Mackenzie, you're willing
You make it sound like such a desirable position.
Mackenzie, you're willing to accept?
I am
And
willing.
Mark was the second. All in favor of Mackenzie Bailey serving as chair for the next school year?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye. Great.
All right. Now my job is done.
Thank you. Okay, so the next one is secretary, vice chair. So it's a combo because we're such a small committee. We have this position as two positions as one person. So the secretary acts as the chair and assumes all of the above responsibilities of the chair when the chair is not available. And on the rare occasion now, because we do have a note taker, but on the rare occasions where we do need to have notes taken for the meeting, they would also be taking the notes for the meeting. So we need, Caitlin had this position, so this is nobody on this board right now has this position.
And it's also used when you can't do it because the votes are concerning the secondary. Or are you in that position still?
I'm not in that position anymore, so that's
okay.
not a worry, but yes, that's a good example of when the vice chair might take over if there was a
Well,
conflict.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, if there was a conflict
Life is
with
easier
with the chair, the vice chair would take over that piece of the meeting.
So if the note taker is not here, is it possible to guarantee that note-taking system is in place?
Nothing in life is guaranteed, but I will do my very best.
I mean, I haven't been able to
set
figure
that
it
up.
out yet to see
I will
those.
do my very best to set that up. I do know Robin has worked to become familiar with it, so she could probably assist with that. She's done that in some other meetings when we haven't been able to have a note taker present, more subcommittee level meetings, but she has set that up. So I think we could work on that, but I'm not volunteering for the job either.
There's a AI program that could possibly be used in the absence of a person taking notes.
Thinking we may be moving that way as a society in general, and I'm not sure what the town's gonna do. This may be my last year, I don't know, I've got a one-year term here, and we'll see how things go. It'd be really nice if we have a full board, so I thought I volunteered to begin with, because we didn't have a full board, and I thought we should. So, I don't know what the interest might be in that position.
Would you be interested in that position?
I would do it if you want me to, but if you don't want me to, that's okay.
Okay. Does
mean,
anybody
if
else have an
somebody else
interest
wants
in that
to.
position?
Mark's interested, you've been here longer than I do, I don't care.
No, go ahead, Dan. That's fine.
Or
If no one else wanted it, I would be interested. I would be asking lots of questions regularly. But if Dan would like it for his remaining year, if not longer, then I would nominate Dan to be the vice chair.
Okay. All right. So it sounds like we've nominated Dan. I'll second that. So if there's no other discussions, we'll go ahead and vote. So all in favor of Dan being the secretary/vice chair?
Aye.
Great. All right. All right, moving on. We have the Union 28 Joint Supervisory Committee representatives. So again, as Shana had mentioned, so each school committee has 3 representatives. The chair is one of them, so we need 2 other elected members of the Joint Supervisory Committee. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
This committee meets several times a
6
year.
times a year.
6 times a year,
Every
yeah.
other month.
So it's not as often as this school committee meets. It's usually the day before our school committee, I
It
think.
meets on the 3rd Monday, typically of starting every other month in September, November, January.
So most of the time, they're the day before our meetings. They've been virtual. I think the plan is to continue for them to be virtual, so it's a little bit easier in that you don't have to go out at night to a meeting. So just giving you a little bit of description of what the role entails. So we need 2 representatives for this besides myself.
I currently have things Monday most of the time, but
I'll do it
Okay.
again.
Okay, so I hear Mark is interested. I'll second for Mark. And then would you
I'll
like to do
happily
the
do
other
it,
one? Perfect, okay.
And I'll second for you.
So we have 2 nominations for the committee. Anybody have any other? Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Great. So Kelly and Mark. Okay, so then we have Budget and Personnel Subcommittee. So this is a subcommittee of the Union 28 Committee. One member from each town serves on the subcommittee. Again, they meet 5 to 6 times a year. And they might meet more often if there's issues, but generally that's when they meet. It's one of the members of the joint supervisory. So Kelly, myself, or Mark would be the person who's on the Budget and Personnel Subcommittee. So Kelly or Mark, do you have a real wanting to do this?
I enjoyed being part of the original hiring process. And they are going to simplify the evaluation system, possibly.
We're gonna work on that.
But I'm a little bit unsure of how the financial workings go, or how we would do, how that's being done. But I can fake it again for another year.
So I will say, just a little bit of context, that typically those meetings are before JSC, so it's not an additional night, it's just a longer night,
Yeah.
because it starts earlier.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They also meet remotely. I will say, I do think the chair, who is Andrew Parker Renga, did I say it in the right order? Brings a lot of fiscal knowledge to the table, so I think he's going to be a great chair for that committee to guide people through. He ran a great meeting yesterday, asked some really good questions, is pretty thoughtful in his approach, I would say. So I think he will be able to lead novice committee members through that, or people who aren't feeling so secure in the finance. That would be my assessment of him. Caitlin, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree.
I think he was a really strong chair, because I think his skill set and his own work complements that skill set needed for that committee.
I would agree.
And there are people from the other towns on it as well, so
Yep.
it's not like it's just
right.
you. So, I'm gonna leave it to, Kelly or Mark, would either of you like to do it?
I'd be happy to continue with it, yeah.
If you'd like to continue with it, will I get acclimated and it's something in the future I can jump on board with?
Sure. Okay, so it sounds like Mark. I will second that for Mark's nomination. Any other discussion? Okay, so all in favor of that? Aye.
Aye.
All right, so up next is the Erving Policy Committee. So this is, meets, again, before our meeting, so it's not an additional meeting, it's just an elongated night for the two people. They'll look at all of the policies. We've been going through policies now quite a bit. It needs 2 people on this board, or on this committee. The superintendent and the principal also come to these meetings. So this is where you're gonna go through the policies, make any adjustments, and then it comes to the full board, and then we go through our process of making adjustments or additions as needed. So you're kind of the first line of seeing these policies.
I'll happily join that.
Okay, great, so,
I'd second that.
all right, perfect, so we need one other member to do
I'll
that.
do it again. I really enjoyed that.
I'll
Okay,
second that too.
alrighty then, so we have Mark and Kelly for Erving Policy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Okay, then we have capital planning. So again, this is just Erving capital planning. They work with the town officials on any, so capital project is anything that's a bigger dollar value project that's gonna last over a certain number of years. So the roof, the air conditioning, the playground, big ticket items come to the capital planning committee. And once they leave this committee, then they will go to the town-wide capital planning committee to hopefully, be reviewed and funded at the end of the process. So, we do have some projects that are going to be needing to be done. The roof and the playground are 2 of them, along with blinds and some other capital projects. So we will need this committee to be fairly active this year.
Do we know what their meeting schedule looks like, roughly?
It's
Like what day of the week
as
they generally come?
needed, I think,
Okay.
in the
We
past,
typically
right?
met as needed, and we last year met during the day, because that was what worked for committee members, but it doesn't have to be, I mean, not that I'm dying for another evening meeting, but, it really is negotiable about when we meet. It really, last year, we started meeting on a Wednesday afternoon once a month, in the mid to late afternoon. And we only met as needed. We had some things that so we had a lot of regularity, and then we had sort of a lull after town meeting. So it does not necessarily meet every month, but I would expect it'll meet more often than not this year.
Can I ask, you, is this a separate capital planning for the school or capital planning, the town capital planning?
No, school.
It is
Oh.
school, but we often have town municipal partners. Brian has often attended to collaborate with us and talk about what that process looks like as far as involving the town with the decisions.
I'm still available during the day, so if that's an issue for other people, you know, daytime meetings are not a problem. My dog sometimes is upset about the afternoons, but
Dan, do you
Then-
think, oh,
I would
okay.
say I would nominate Mark if Dan's not interested in that one.
We can have more than one, and it's
Oh.
actually good to have more than one, because that way, in case somebody can't come, the meeting can still be held.
Well, if you nominate Mark.
Daytime is not at the
Not
moment.
for you? Oh, okay. Well, I don't know, there might be a conflict with me, being on finance and dealing with town capital stuff. I don't know there'd be any conflicting thing there. I don't know.
I don't think so, because this is just at our level, and then we take it, but we can certainly get clarification on that to be sure.
we can get you a couple of hats, or we can get you, you know, a hat that reverses.
And if you're not able to, I'd love to have you do it if you want, but if you're not able to, that's your, you know your situation.
Yeah, just work life, but
Okay.
I mean, I'm intrigued by it. It definitely sounds like something I would love to be on, but if it's very flexible with when we can meet, like
I think we
lunchtime.
can be pretty flexible. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not.
Yeah.
Caitlin and I have a lot of nighttime meetings, but this doesn't meet all the time, and I don't want that to prohibit when you need to meet. So you should meet at what works for the committee, and then Caitlin and I will divide and conquer to make sure that there's representation. So you should really plan for what works. You are the decision makers in that process, so you should really work for what works for this committee, and Caitlin and I will figure it out.
I will say that there's, coming up, the next is the Collaborative for Educational Services rep, and that does meet in the evening. So if this isn't one for you, you might want to do
I
that
like that.
one.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'll
Okay,
swap a
not to
daytime-
dissuade you, but
Yeah,
just-
that's fine.
You know,
Yeah.
so, Jan, are you okay with doing it if you're,
I guess, do you want to be on a committee?
I'm I'm on a few,
Okay.
so no, but, you know, not that I can't come, but,
Right, and we can check if it's a problem with the town, we can revisit the issue.
yes, yep,
Okay.
for sure.
Or if you want to try it and be flexible, let's see how that goes, up to you.
I'll hold off for now.
Okay.
If you are interested in giving it a whirl, and if we have to revisit it, we definitely will, if it's a conflict later on.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna nominate Dan, and so I just need a second on that.
Second that.
Great, so we have Dan and Mark for the Capital Planning Committee. All in favor?
All right.
Aye, great. Okay, so Collaborative for Educational Services representative, so they meet several times a year, it's not every month, I think it's every other month, every third month, something like that, I can't actually remember what the schedule is, but it's not every month. They were remote, I do not know if they are still remote, that would be something we'd have to look into. But anyways, the collaborative is a group that we tap into for various things. Professional development, what are some of the other things we use the collaborative for?
We've used collaborative for procurement, right?
Oh, that's right,
Service.
bidding, yeah. And so all of the member towns get together at this meeting and just, you know, conduct the business of the collaborative, hear what's going on, and then you report back to the school committee. So on the agenda, we have a agenda item for a report from the collaborative representative. So you would just then kind of give us the overview of what's going on in the meeting in case there's anything that we need to be acutely aware of.
There are other Union 28 members, so they could keep you up. They could get you caught up about this is where we are as you head into the next meeting. I believe they're hybrid. I think that there's a remote and an in-person
That's the way
option.
they used to be. I wasn't sure if that
I
was
think
still
it
the
was still that
case.
way as of last year, right? Yeah.
So that's helpful too, because then you don't always have to go. And they are in the evening, so,
That's beautiful speed for me.
yeah. So if that is something you are interested in, or anyone else is interested in, we do need a representative for that. So, Dan or Mark, are you interested?
Nominate Kelly if you're interested.
All right, I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. All right, sick bank. So this isn't used very often. 2 school committee members are elected to work with a member of the union and then a member of the administrative team. If somebody were to need the sick bank committee gets together, reviews the documentation, makes sure that everything is in order, and then decides whether they meet the criteria to get the sick bank days or not. Again, this doesn't meet very often at all. Thankfully, we haven't really been needing it, so we need this committee, but they honestly hardly ever meet. So it's 2 school committee members on that meeting. I have done it in the past and I would like to continue on it, so I will nominate myself for the school sick bank.
Second.
Great, and then we need 1 more person.
Did we ever meet last time? Yes, last year?
One time last year.
Well, yeah, was it
One
one time? Yeah, maybe one
In
time.
this school one time. Yeah.
Maybe once or twice, yeah, really. Thankfully, we've had a very healthy staff, so we really haven't needed this. So,
Want to learn about sick bank?
Sure, I don't mind that at all.
okay, so,
I'll nominate Kelly.
okay, I'll second. So sick bank will be nominated Kelly and I. All in favor?
Aye.
Regionalization committee. So this one is gaining quite a bit of traction, and we really do need somebody on the regionalization committee. This is related to Gil Montague is our secondary school that we have a tuition agreement, and they are in talks with the Pioneer District to regionalize. And so, because we have our tuition agreement with Gil Montague, we really need to keep an eye on what's going on and how that will affect us moving forward. If there's any changes or anything that we want to make through that process. They have been actively meeting this past year, and they are looking to take a vote actually among the member towns of Pioneer and Gil Montague to move forward with this regionalization. And that's vote is, I think, in November, if I'm not mistaken. It's sometime in the fall. So it really is going to be crucial for us to have a representative for this regionalization committee. They do meet. I do not know when they meet. I don't remember off the top of my head when they meet. I believe it's after school hours, but I don't remember exactly when.
My sense is that they have not been particularly worried or interested in what we're doing, that they haven't, it's like they're more concerned about getting their group together.
Yes.
And we're on the outsides looking in.
Yes, which is all the
And-
more reason we should definitely have
Somehow
somebody.
we've got to be
Yeah.
there when there is a new regional district formed. We've got to have a place to send our kids.
Well, and even in the process of that, because again, our tuition agreement should be adjusted based on the outcome of that regionalization vote. So it's really important that we have somebody there that can be very active in this group and make sure that our needs and wants as the town of Erving are represented throughout the process.
I guess what I was trying to say, or cast as a picture, is that we need somebody who's going to jump up and yell and scream at some point, but usually isn't going to have much of anything to say. or they're not gonna be interested very much in saying anything to you. But at the right point, we need to really be in there.
Yes, I would agree that we definitely need to make sure that we are advocating for our own needs and wants, because I don't think that's forefront on their mind. Like you said, I think their interest lies in their towns figuring out what's going to work for their children.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a question on this one. So I'm intrigued, interested, have stake in future children going off to there. But as far as committee goes, the member who's doing this is, like Mark said, it's kind of a silent, just following along, knowing what's going on, bringing it back here, telling everybody here what's going on in those meetings as just ears, really. And then my question is if I were, or whoever is to do it, as a group, we'll figure out what we should be speaking up when it's time to speak up?
Yes, so I think what we're looking for at this point is somebody who will speak up and just make sure that they are reminded that you're in the room and that you have a stake in this.
Okay.
And then very quickly going forward, we're going to have to decide what we want to do.
Want said at that meeting.
Because we do have the tuition agreement.
Yep.
And so something will have to be done with that if this process continues to move forward and they do end up regionalizing. So, yeah, it's definitely, I mean, so yes, we want you to listen and then report back, but also, you know, be known in the room and,
And say, hey, what about us?
yeah,
Yeah.
ask those
There
questions.
is some money coming into you from us. We do have kids
lot of
in your
money.
district.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
In one regard, we're important to them because we do give them a substantial financial increase from sending our students there, which is good. But just a historical perspective, unless things have changed, we were not invited to be part of the region. Regional state reimbursement, or federal, wherever the funds come from, are to some degree dependent on the value of the towns and the tax base of the towns. And Erving has a very high value, and that's why people left Mahar. Mahar Regional wanted us to leave, really, and we did, because it was dragging down how much money they could get because we had such a high value. So nobody wants us as a partner, but everybody's, I think, equally concerned that our kids get educated. I've heard nothing about, we don't want Erving to send your kids around here. I've heard nothing about that, but letting them know, and we go to the school committee meetings, we have in the past. We may say something or not, we don't vote, but keeping it on the plate that we're here and our kids are important too. I believe they all know it, and I don't think there's any animosity that I'm aware of, but it's just a good thing to have a presence in the room.
yeah,
But we are,
Agreed.
yeah, it's important to say that we are not part of their district.
Correct.
And when it is reconfigured, we will not be one of the towns in it unless we should then have, if we were to become part of it, then we would have to come up with a different arrangement. Because the other 3 schools are part of districts for their 7 to 12, am I right?
Yes, but they're going to become one district, and they're gonna have some, my understanding, just from what I've read, they'll have some, they're gonna use the Turners Falls facilities.
I think he's talking about the
Yeah, no,
other
what I'm
Union
saying is that-
28 schools, right?
Huh?
The other Union 28 schools?
I'm saying that the other Union 28 schools aren't parts of districts.
They are parts of
We are
districts
not.
in 7th grade, yes.
And-
Salem Wendell go to Mahar, and Shutesbury Leverett go to Amherst Pelham.
And they don't do it as a tuition,
No, they become regionalized in 7th grade.
yeah, which is
So
an
we're
option.
unique in that sense, in that we're not looking to regionalize with them, but we still have to do something. So it's going to be very interesting, I think, going forward. Whether the regionalization gets approved or not, changes are going to be made. I think they have to be. So it is a very interesting time to look at all of the arrangements that are made and see, you know, is everything still fitting our needs, and do we want to make any changes, and what is it going to look like going forward? So does that mean that you're interested in that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I have interest in, have been briefly following, so.
Nominate Kelly.
Okay, great, I'll second that. So, again, this will be on our agenda, so you'll come back with whatever, was talked about at the meeting, and then we can have some informed, discussions about it. Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, and then, so the last one is, the warrant signer, which, we have now moved to electronic signing of the warrants. Everybody is available to sign the warrants. So I encourage you, if you haven't already started getting them, to make sure that you're looking through them and familiarize yourself with what they look like. If ever there's a question about anything on the warrant, certainly ask before you sign it. This is, the committee will designate a roll call vote, a single member responsible for reviewing and approval of all warrants. I am not in favor of a single signer. I like to have at least 2 people sign. I know that there are times where it's difficult to get 2 people to sign. It is what it is. But I think for the check and balance, it's always nice to have 2 people sign off on the warrants. But for the sake of this, we need to have a person designated.
Yeah, I mean, I did it last year. And I have some concern that at times I don't seem to be able to figure out exactly what's going on, and I don't think a lot has slipped past me or anything has gone on bad that I didn't see. But I think there's only been a couple of things that I've been useful for. Catching the names of and initials and addresses of special ed students was a problem a while back, and I did catch that. But other than that, as soon as you put a $sign in front of something, I tend to get lost.
I think to Mackenzie's point, if there are 2 people, right? I mean, there's a lot of numbers that get tossed, so I don't think you're alone in that. And I think that's why we have 2 signers and a system, so hopefully we're catching it. So I appreciate that only one nothing gets held up if we've got 1. But I think to have 2 people is not a bad thing.
Right. Agreed.
So I don't think you should worry yourself about if the dollars are blurring your vision, Mark.
And again, I'll say that we are all able to sign them. So there could be 4 or 5 when we get a 5th member signing the warrants. It's just really, I think, to not hold up the warrants from being presented to the town so that they can get paid. So, Mark, did you seem like you were interested in being the
I'm
designated
happy to
signer?
continue. I think we should have 2 people.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so Mark will continue to be, again, I would prefer that more than 1 person, but for the sake of this being 1 person,
So if I'm understanding it right, we're nominating and perhaps voting on Mark
Yep.
to be the 1 person designated. But we're all welcome to look at the warrant. sign it,
encouraged to look at the
encouraged, yeah.
warrants.
And it's puzzling. I've been dealing with warrants for a long time, but it's still puzzling. And I think I've only maybe signed 1 or 2 because I look at it. Mark or Mackenzie have questions and comments. I look at it and say, I wouldn't have even known to ask that question. So it takes a while, but you never learn if you don't start. So I encourage is a good word to look through them and understand them.
And ask the questions, because it's better to know. I mean, we're fiscally responsible for this budget, so if you're not sure why something is being paid or why it's being paid the way that it's being paid, I would encourage you to ask. Any of you to ask.
I love the idea of being a second signer, and I did read through the ones we did. My only question, and I know this is new, fresh for me, is my mother is employed in Erving, so is that a problem if I'm seeing payroll stuff going through? As long as it's just her normal, it's not anything to do with extra stuff, it's just normal bananas, which, why are we buying mini bananas? But anyways, so I did review them. I just want to make sure that that's not, I'm gonna need learning practices of where that line gets drawn. But other than that, I don't mind being a second person, reviewing how many bananas we bought this week and mandarin oranges and signing those things.
Kelly, I think you bring up a good point. It's a small community, right? I mean, you're going to know people. That's the
Absolutely.
uniqueness of it. And sometimes we've even had discussions where we're, in not here and in other schools where I've been like, I'm not giving any more information about this on camera because it will identify, family or something like that. So I appreciate you being sensitive to that. I do think you're going to see stuff, and you're really in your role there is a checks and balance.
Yep.
It's
Perfect.
not to worry about.
Super.
Right,
Then in
because
that
that's
case-
the school committee's role,
Yeah.
and whether it's big bananas or small bananas is the food services role, right?
Yeah,
So-
absolutely.
You're just making sure that we paid the right amount.
Perfect. Then I don't mind being a second signer, and I enjoy looking at invoices and
Great.
reviewing those things.
Great.
Great. Okay, so, Mark, you offered, I'll second, as the official, and then, Kelly, and then, Dan, I, again, encourage us all to look at them and question anything that we're not sure about. So all in favor of Mark?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so that concludes, unless I'm missing any.
And could we say Kelly is the second signer also in general?
Yes, sure.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay, thank you.
absolutely. So all in favor of Kelly being the second signer?
Aye.
Aye.
There, now it's official. Okay, so I believe that is all of our committees, so we have fulfilled our reorganization duties. If we end up with a fifth member, hopefully soon, we can always go back and reorganize again and redistribute some of this to that person. Okay, so we have some minutes, thank you. Yikes. June 17th, 2025, so I'll need a motion and a second to approve the minutes.
I move we approve the minutes.
Second.
Great. Any discussion on that?
Nope.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. All right. Now we are on to the warrants. So we have payroll warrants and account payable warrants.
So I move we accept the payroll warrants as a group.
Second?
And I'll read them off if you want.
Yes, please.
They are 126, 101, 102, 103, 104, 104.1, 105, and 106 as a group.
Okay, so any discussion about those? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. On the accounts payable, Caitlin, just to be sure that the, those 104.1 and 1041 and 1042 with the dates on them are still eligible for being paid out of this fiscal year?
No, those were paid in FY '25. Those were after our last school committee meeting in June.
Oh,
So I
okay.
add them because we haven't had a chance to show them to you, but they've been paid.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you. All right. So we have accounts payable warrants that need to be paid. And what is the FS next to the 1041?
Food service.
Okay, thank you. As a batch or individually?
As a
Preference?
batch, let's do
Great.
accounts payable.
All right, so I need a second and a motion, a motion and a second.
So I move that we approve the accounts payable as a batch. 1041, 1042, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 1007, and 008.
There's some more, there's a couple on the back.
On the back. Down, going down. So that'd be 1121. Because the next one is secondary. Right. Do that.
Yep. All right, I'll second that. Any other discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Great. And finally, we have secondary.
So I move that we approve accounts payable secondary 1101 and 1102 together as a batch.
Okay, I'll second that. Any discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving forward. Do we have any gifts or grants?
Yes, we do. We have the Rural Education Achievement Program, or the REAP grant. We were emailed our award letter for REAP Small Rural School Achievement, or SRSA program, grant funding a few weeks ago. Our award this year is for $15,999. It's an increase from our last year's award of $14,704. We'd only budgeted for $14,740, so it's a nice little increase to what we were expecting. So I'd like for you to accept the REAP grant for $15,999.
Okay. We need a motion and a second.
I move we accept the grant. Do I need to say specifically? Need
No,
more
it's
than
only
that?
one. Second?
Can I, when do,
You can second it and then we can.
okay, so I second it. I'd love to accept it. I would like to confirm what it's for. I missed what the REAP grant is
Sure.
specifically spent on.
Yes, so it is a federal grant that's given. It's one of the only reasons why I think we have a SAM.gov, UEI number, and we deal with federally. And it's a small grant for rural education achievement. We use it for, usually to supplement the Title I grant funded teacher, so that, because we use the same, it's for the same purposes. So we use a little, for that teacher, we use Title I, and then we add the REAP in, and so it just takes them off the operating budget.
Excellent, thank you.
When will we actually receive this money?
So for this grant, we spend money, and then we have to reach out and get it reimbursed. So we do that periodically.
Okay, so you'll do it in small amounts throughout the year?
Usually like 2 or 3 times a year.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so we have report of the Gil Montague representatives. So our Gil Montague representative has resigned their position. We are still looking for a new representative, so we do not have a report at this time, unless somebody else has more
No, I'm
information.
saying, do we have a letter of resignation? Because I think we still have them on the table.
We do have a letter of resignation, which I thought, so if you have not received it, then we'll make sure you get it. This person was also the tech school representative, so we are looking for a new tech school representative. Collaborative Educational Services was Caitlin. I do not believe they've met since we last met, and now it'll be Kelly. Regionalization update, again, we don't have a rep, so now it will be Kelly. Capital Planning Committee update. Did anything happen over the summer that we need to have a
No,
report
we are
on?
moving forward with the blinds. Caitlin can probably fill you in more about that. We were, just met not too long ago with Brian, but that project has been funded by the town and we're moving forward with getting that.
And do we have a timeline?
I do not have the timeline.
I think Brian was going to an event this week or
He
next.
was. He is going to an event in Worcester to try to, it is not easy to get all the vendors to respond in a timely manner, so he had a very aggressive plan to touch base with them, and we haven't heard back yet. Creative. Aggressive is probably not the right word. Very creative, resourceful,
All right.
to touch base with them, so we're expecting an update.
Could I ask for capital planning, could you just send me an email with just a brief update of things that are ongoing? So I'm just up to speed a little
And we
bit.
are still waiting to hear about our application to the accelerated repair program for the roof and the HVAC system, and we just have not heard back. They're not behind timeline. They have said accelerated is not the right word, even though they call it accelerated. I think the deadline is we'll hear by November 1st, I think is what it was. If we're invited in, that doesn't mean we're, still
Doesn't
it's
mean
not
we're getting the
secured.
money, yeah.
It just means that we've moved through the first phase.
Hopefully it doesn't rain.
They did come over the summer, and it was, they came in August. And it could not have worked better because when it had rained the night before, so they were able, it was like
Oh, wow.
really wonderful. They were able to see exactly what we were talking about. So it was a very quick visit. They was, nothing unusual for them. So we're waiting to hear.
Great. All right. So now we're up to the superintendent's report.
Okey-doke. On August 25th, Erving Elementary School hosted opening day activities for the Union 28 districts. The day began with opening remarks, an overview of district focus areas to the upcoming school year, and several required beginning of the year trainings. And just 2 days later, on August 27th, the ES students were warmly welcomed back to a school building and classrooms that were both inviting and ready for a great year ahead. I do want to give a shout out to the custodial staff, the food service staff, and Principal Beth Gannon. It is not easy to host everyone, and we try to rotate it as we can. Erving has great parking, and it can still potentially be hot, and so they often get that first, meeting of the year, and it's a lot for you, to come back, and the building looked fabulous. It was well organized. Eric did a great job having, chairs out and everything ready to go, and Donna really had a wonderful little welcoming, coffee and that kind of stuff, and it was a great start. But I do want to give them a shout out because it is certainly more work for them as they're already trying to open a building. So shout out to them. Erving is proud to be one of 29 districts selected to receive the Partnership for Reading Grants 2 and 3, which is called PRISM. EES applied for the grant in conjunction with Lever Elementary and Swift River School. The grant is part of Governor Healy's literacy launch, Reading Success from ages 3 to grade 3, a statewide effort to ensure that all Massachusetts preschool programs, schools, educators, and students have access to high-quality, evidence-based reading instruction. Funding from the grant will support coaching provided by a DESE-approved vendor, professional development sessions, stipends for educators to participate in a literacy council outside of their workday, and curriculum purchases aligned with evidence-based literacy practices. The initiative marks an exciting step towards strengthening early literacy instruction and supporting educators in our school communities. Some Union 28 updates. We just had the joint supervisory and leadership meeting yesterday. The JSC Budget and Personnel Committee met prior to the full committee. As we prepare for what is expected to be a challenging fiscal year, we are committed to working proactively and collaboratively with the Union 28 communities to continue providing high-quality education and support for all students. Additionally, the superintendent's evaluation from school year 24-25 was presented, and focus areas for the coming year were shared. A formal presentation of my goals will take place in the November JSC meeting. We're pleased to share that the Union 28 leadership team returns intact this year. Over the summer, the team worked diligently to plan for the year ahead and to identify opportunities to more effectively and efficiently leverage our collective talents and resources. For those who aren't aware, last year, in addition to a new superintendent, there was a new superintendent's administrative assistant, and 3 of 4 principals were brand new, or a mid-year hire, as was Beth, and also the director of student support. So that they're all back, we're very happy, and it just feels like, we're all on the same footing, and we've got forward momentum going. So we're happy about that. Amy Langdon, director of student support, and I attended the Connecticut Valley Superintendent's Roundtable on September 5th. During this event, we had the opportunity to hear directly from the Massachusetts Secretary of Education, Patrick Tutwiler, and newly appointed Commissioner Pedro Martinez. They shared their vision for public education in the Commonwealth, as well as addressed the potential impacts of an increasingly volatile federal education budget. Commissioner of Education Pedro Martinez will be coming to Swift River School on October 3rd as part of a planned visit to Western Massachusetts. I am excited to share with him the unique opportunities and challenges that rural education provides. On August 25th, just some legislative updates. The Trump administration reversed its freeze and agreed to restore federal funding that supports teacher prep programs, services for English language learners, and mental health services that service many low-income communities. The funding freeze was challenged by a multi-state lawsuit that included Massachusetts and 21 other states. The Massachusetts cuts were estimated to be at $321 million. Award letters are being generated and funding should resume in early October. And a reminder that MASS, which is the Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents, and MASC will be having their joint conference, Our Children, Our Responsibility, Our Future, in November in Hyannis. And that is my report. Any questions?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we have the PRISM grant? Do we have the teachers on board with that and already agreed to?
We do. Lindsay Rodriguez has done a lot of work with that. The timeline for that, DESE also often works in their own little timeline and thinking that doesn't always jive with what's best practice in schools. But when we found out we got the first grant, we had to spend that money like really, really quickly. So big chunks of it go to the DESE approved vendor, which for us is TNTP. To put it in perspective, I think we got about $300,000+. 180 of it goes to the vendor. So, which is great professional development. They're coming in, they're gonna do some walkthroughs and coaching. They'll start being on campuses next week for walkthroughs for the building to just kind of see each building and give some feedback. But teachers had an opportunity to join the literacy work, and we have teachers from every grade level and every school represented. So because we applied as a consortium, which is everyone in Union 28 except Shutesbury, because they use a different curriculum than we did, and that was than the rest of the union schools, and that was a requirement. If your little schools are going to join together to apply for it, you all have to be using the same program. So we applied with Leverett, Swift River, and Erving, and between those three schools, we'll look to have representatives on the Literacy Council, and we do have Erving representation, and those meetings and work has already begun with Lindsay. So we're excited. We're excited to have it.
And so even though it's only through grade 3, we have other.
So we have also PRISM 4, which covered PRISM 3, getting the wrong numbers, which will cover the older grades.
Okay.
But it started originally with that initiative, and then they've sort of built on it. So every grade in those schools will have an opportunity to be impacted by that grant programming.
Gotcha. All right. Any other questions? All righty. So moving on, we have the Director of Finance and Operations.
So I only have 2 things left on my report. One, they're the Erving Secondary FY25 update. So last year we ended the year with a sizable amount left from our secondary budget. And I kind of like to break down challenges and cost savings to the budget. Challenges, there really weren't any. We didn't have any lines that were over expended. We had no unanticipated expenses coming up through the year, no additional special education placements. It was really a pretty smooth year. Cost savings, there was a decrease in the tuition invoices from what was previously projected by Gil Montague the previous year. The tuition assessment is based on actual enrollment and a yearly tuition cost, which is released at the beginning of the school year. So we don't yet know what the expenses will look like for this year until we start to receive the quarterly statements from Gil Montague. There was a decrease in the need for special education tuition and transportation for what was initially planned, and there was an increase in circuit breaker funding that was originally anticipated also. For this year, from what we had for estimates from Gil Montague last year when we were budgeting, but then the town asked if we, to put it for the annual town meeting, had reduced that amount and said, you've been tying up a lot of cash in our budget because we have had a bigger budget that we've needed year over year. And so once we receive that first quarter tuition and we have a projection of what we need, then they would cooperate if we need more than what they had reduced the budget to. And I'm trying something new this year. So every year I keep track of we issue all the school committees the expenditure reports, and they're not super user friendly. But then on our side, I create spreadsheets that give me the ability to take a snapshot of the budget and manually encumber things, so that things I know we will spend, or especially for the Union 28 salaries that can't be encumbered in the system, I can manually enter those, and it gives us a good projection or a good sense of where we are month by month. So what I'm going to do is link those to my reports, and I think there's a printout in your packets also. And you can look at where I have given you sort of what the budget looks like with all of those manual encumbrances in. So let me take a second to explain that spreadsheet to you. For the column F, manual encumbrance, if it's blank, we just don't know. So for school committee advertising, we don't know if there's going to be, I hope that Beth is here for many, many years, but if,
That's not,
yes.
I want to leave it very happy. Very happy every day.
Perfect. If there was a need to post something into the recorder for a position, that would go in that line. We have no idea right now. Probably safe to say we won't need that advertising expense, but we don't know, so I leave it blank. For times that I put in a 0, that is like for a lot of the salary lines, I put in a 0 because that's already been encumbered. If we keep the same staff that we have today for the rest of the year, it's already in the encumbrance line. There's no more need for a manual encumbrance. For lines like line 6, legal counsel, we know that we're going to have this recurring bill every month, and so I've put it in the manual encumbrance of this is going to have to be paid through the year. And the cells that are highlighted in blue are our salary lines for Erving Elementary School. The ones further down, when you get to the Union 28 lines, those ones highlighted in kind of a light purple or a plum, those are the Union 28 salary lines, and those we are not able to encumber in the system, so I manually encumber each one of those lines. And I added in some of the ones like legal counsel or travel lines, the central office rent for our storage unit, the things we know are going to happen, the ones that are blank. We don't know, we will have expenditures from those lines, I can't estimate at this point in the year. And then you have the amount that we have. If we froze spending on everything today and there was no more pencils and crayons and anything else bought, that would be what we would have. But we know that that will change, especially as things break and we have to hire contract people in to fix them, or we order supplies, and that is what we have right now. And then there's a second tab for secondary, and this one is almost entirely blank because there are no salary lines coming out of secondary really, except for the school committee one that'll get adjusted. And we don't know what the tuition bill is going to be yet, so it's too soon to have a better projection of where we are right now with the secondary budget. So I'm happy to take feedback about having the budget represented to you this way. In the notes, I'm going to try to put some of the things that have been recent expenditures, like I did in my last director's report, but now it'll just be in that kind of notes column of things that have been expended recently, or things I think you might be curious about.
Our hope is that this will give you a more, I know from myself, and a little bit like Mark, I guess, when Caitlin and I sit down, this doesn't always tell me okay, we have that much, but what do we already anticipate? And so this format was much more user-friendly for me, to have an idea about, you know, what do we anticipate? You know, we have 12,000 in a line, what do we anticipate? How much is really free out of that? And I'm hoping you find it useful. Caitlin did this with me, and it was much more helpful. I don't know if that was very helpful for me. So we'll try this, and if it's just cluttering your mind, then we can certainly do something different, but trying to give you a more user-friendly depiction of where the budget really stands was the focus.
I have one newbie question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where am I finding yours?
Oh, are you in my report? All right, so click on Director of Finance and Operations report
Mm-hmm.
and open that up. Oh,
Beth, I think there's an extra printed copy over there.
Could
If you
it
wanna grab
just
that for
be,
Kelly. Take care.
maybe share anything.
okay, no worries. Again, it could just be user error on my behalf.
Yeah, I'm gonna share this directly with you so you have it quicker.
Perfect.
Something that would,
I have this. I just don't have the actual spreadsheet.
something that would help me as I go through this kind of a spreadsheet. If the titles that are on line 2 could simply stay put, so that when I'm down, you know, at the bottom of something on my smaller screen here, and I'm over, you know, my little mind has, you know, I'm over 3 or 4 columns, and I gotta go back to the top and see, oh yeah, what was that column? Or actually, it's usually the 3rd column over that. I'm like, darn, you know, and I know there's a way to keep those
Yep,
up.
I can absolutely freeze that line so it'll stay put. That's a good suggestion.
Yes,
Thank you, Mark.
that's it. Thank you.
You're welcome. It should be good now.
All right.
There you
Give it a
go.
whirl.
There you are. And that's just what I need.
And you'll have to show me how to do that, 'cause I don't know how to do that.
I have,
Go ahead.
it's kind of between a question and a comment. I like to refer to the thousands of people that are watching. And as we have these meetings and they're televised, I hope more people do watch. It's their money we're talking about. It's way more complex than at home. You need money for the food and the light bill and, you know, the heating bill and stuff. There's a lot to the budget. And over the years, different times, school committees, administrators, town have been at odds on a variety of things. But we're all seem to be working together, which is great. We have common goals. We're all in it together. Nobody's trying to abuse the money. So some of the things you said was, we don't know exactly how much the tuition is going to turn out to be. So this year we had some that we didn't use. Okay, on whatever the tuition line was, and that's fine. It's my understanding that, and I think we'll continue this, that as the town wants us to, we, as a school committee, ask for what we need, and if it turns out we need more, we go back to them and say so. We don't over-ask, trying to have a whole bunch of buffer, and then what are we gonna do with all this money? But when we do end up at the end of the year, and we do have some money left, it goes back to free cash, unless it's encumbered for something, so it goes back to the town funds anyways. My question is, do we know how much from this previous year went back? May not have an answer right now, but, and it's probably available somewhere, but whoever's watching doesn't know, I don't know. So if you might bring it, it's, you know, how much did we go back? It's kind of a measure of not only how good of a job do, we can only do so good. We don't know how many kids are gonna not go here, they're gonna go there, and each kid could be $5,000 to $50,000, you don't know where it's gonna be. So I just wanted to ask that, if we could get that information sometime along.
Yep, I can give you that information.
Don't need it immediately, but, okay, thank you.
No, I think that's a good idea. Can you just speak to line 45?
Substitute custodian salary.
Yeah.
So we had a custodian over the summer that helped out, and we budgeted 6,000. And I have to check to get back exactly what the payroll breakdown was. I believe it was just for the substitute custodian, but we ran over about $1,600.
And that was just for the summer?
Yeah, I don't wanna say exactly.
The summer work caused it to go over, but I think that that was all year's amount, no?
Well, the year starts July 1st, so I'm just wondering how we're
Oh, I'm looking on the- okay.
already $1,600 negative, and we're middle of September.
We use that line primarily for the summer extra support custodian.
So that when a custodian is out during the year, where does that substitute custodian salary come from?
I'll have to check and I'll give you a more complete answer at the next meeting.
So what I'd like to know is, one, where does that come from? And two, why was this person so over-scheduled that we've now gone into arrears? I feel like there needs to be some attention to what that schedule looked like and what that need was, that they went over by, $1,600 over 2 months' work.
Okay.
And we're only talking July and August. That's a lot of hours to go over.
Beth, do you happen to know?
I do not.
Okay, so we'll get that information, that answer.
Could I just ask, as we move forward, you get toward the end of a year, and then sometimes things are over here or under there, and that's understandable. But if something comes up this early in the year, or the next few months, and we're gonna be over, might you come to the meeting with some explanation and how are we gonna fund the rest of the year? Where's that gonna come from? Seems reasonable to ask.
Sure.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? All right, so, anything else, Caitlin?
Nope, that's the end of my report.
All right. All right, so we're up to principal's report, sorry.
Thank you. So I'm, as we referenced, very happy to be back here at Erving Elementary and to be here for the future. I'm excited to be able to be all summer. I was here and getting things settled, and I was thrilled when the kids came back to school on the 27th. I have a start here. Got some nice photographs of our little munchkins during the first couple of days. As it stands right now, we have brought in 7 school choice students. I actually met with a family of 3 earlier this week, and happened to be three children who are all in grades that we have very low numbers in, so it may be an opportunity for us to bring 3 more. We are currently at 106 students. We are very aware that our year 4 program for preschool is exceptionally small, with only 3 children, and the year 3 program is 75. We were just not, we had only 1 applicant for the year 4 program, and we gave that child a seat. So without many applicants, there just were not so many preschoolers coming in. But as you can see, we had a lot of smiling faces as the school year started, and I was really excited about that.
So I'd like to ask that we
Yes.
Advertise that we have those seats open. Often schools use the newspaper to advertise and other means, including the Around Town, which would be free. So if we could do that at this point.
We'll advertise that and try to.
And just to be clear, I'm only asking for the advertisement for pre-K because the numbers are so low.
Yes. We had a few other people that came and met with me about it. I think that the part of the issue when we did not get applicants for it is they weren't willing to pay the price for it. I think it's a very reasonable price, so I'm just not going to be able to change that. So unfortunately, that hurt us from trying to get a few more people. I do know that there is a waiting list in Leverett. I have asked
Is there, taking a longer view, what do we got in the census coming?
So next year's 2-year-old program, we have a census that breeds 21 2-year-olds. And then the following year, we have a census that's reading 19 1-year-olds. So this is those look like much better numbers, obviously. Unfortunately, this 2 years, there are 4 children that are part of that 3-year-old cohort that the parents have opted to have them stay at home. They're just not ready to send them to school yet, and I understand that. So hopefully that will materialize, that will bring that group to 9 as incoming kindergartners. We still have to try to recruit some more families to make that a more viable cohort. The issue at hand is that the 4-year-old program is, 2021 was not a year that people like us were having children in this area. I think we were a little bit stressed by the pandemic and being in the thick of it. So we're sort of struggling with that particular year. But we do have 2 classes coming up where we have a fairly sizable number of children that we anticipate we would see, if not immediately during pre-K, we would see them in kindergarten and then moving forward. But I do know some of the families, as they have children already in the building, and just don't send them to pre-K. They tend to leave them at home a little longer. That makes sense.
So for the longer term, we're in better shape with those lower grades than we happen to be at the moment.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
I would just caution that the census is only as good as the census is. So, that was, you take it with a grain of salt when you look at those numbers, but it's good to hear that at least there's, in theory, bigger numbers.
I've physically seen many of these children, because the parents will bring them along when they come to drop off the older kids, or they come to do an event. So
Good.
there's a solid number of children that I've actually put eyes on.
Great.
I will say our CNC partners have said, you have a big group coming, right? So I think that although the census may be flawed, we do know that they have also said we have a big group of incoming 3-year-olds next year.
Great.
Who are in other programs.
School council is underway. We had our first meeting on August 25th. It was a closed session because we were discussing embargo data, and that's the only way we could do that. I felt it was important to begin the process immediately. You have a link in this document that provides you with a draft of action steps. If you take the time, and I'm sure you'll take the time to look at it, but what I will say is it's a pretty extensive list of proposed action steps that have gone through. The members of the school council, as well as the teachers, have worked very hard to identify some what they strongly believe are high leverage choices. We intend to meet again on the 23rd of this month. Our goal is to try to finalize the draft. We will add the data and our report card from the state as soon as the embargo is lifted, and then this will be ready for sharing with you shortly thereafter. So the goal is to get, and you'll notice in looking at the action steps that have already been drafted, there's quite a number of them that we are already underway in implementing or have completed at this time. So I'm really excited about that. We will move forward creating our calendar of events for the rest of the year. We have 2 additional parents who are going to be coming to the next meeting, and that would actually put us in a position where we could have an actual election for members of the school council, because we'd have extra bodies. I'm hoping that is the case. If the recruiting efforts have remained firm, we will have enough people to have an election. We will send that out to the remaining of the parents in the building to get that done. And then we'll move forward with discussing budgeting.
And so I noticed the finalize the draft of the school improvement plan. So will we see that on the October school committee?
You will see it on October or November. We do have planned in October to share our MCAS data. So it will we'll have to determine if the agenda supports having two kind of lengthy topics, or if we want to really dive into the MCAS and assessment data, and then in November look at the school improvement plan. Many of those steps are in response to what you're going to see in October, if that makes sense. But that can certainly, and we can put them there, but they would be two lengthy agenda items, and I don't know if you, as a committee, would like to process the October stuff first and then visit the school improvement plan. But all union schools have been told they need to present their school improvement plans by the end of the fall. So no later than November.
And as you can see in the linked document, we have an extensive set of already drafted action steps. I shared with all of you, we are, the school committee, the school council is meeting again, as I said, on the 23rd. We are going to be reviewing those again, trying to finalize as many of the ones that haven't already been approved by the council as we can. Our goal is to get that document as close to completed as possible by the end of this month. And really our one kind of glitch is that we are waiting for the embargo data to be released officially. I did a few quick update. I know Shannon was already mentioned. We had our PRISM 2 and 3 grants. I'm not going to repeat that part of it because she talked about it, but I'm really excited to have that training and for so many of our staff to be able to participate in the 17 hours of training over the course of summer, really digging into the curriculum. This represented an opportunity for us to go from version 2 to version 3 of a curriculum we're already using. Part of why that is important to us is that they're no longer going to be supporting version 2 after the end of next year. And so it's nice to be able to be on the front end of that and not have to be purchasing it at the end of next year when they stop supporting the version we had access to. So I'm excited that we were able to do that. More importantly, I did want to highlight the trainings. So school safety is an incredibly important part of what we do every day. We have partnered with the Franklin County Sheriff's Office and the School Safety Officer, State Trooper James Carmichael, and we have had a number of trainings that we have undergone over the course of the last year, including opportunities for us to do some trainings through the course of the last few days as well. So we have a lockdown drill coming this Friday. This is not the first time we have done this. They actually came several times and did trainings with us through the course of last year. It's a great opportunity for our kids to see in a calmer environment what we are trying to do to support them and make sure this environment feels safe for them. We do make sure that information goes out to families and lets them know. I've already put it on Dojo at the beginning of the week, so they're aware of it. These drills are really a good opportunity, as I said, just to give kids a clear picture of action steps they can take and teachers a chance to practice what they need to do. We've also done a drop-off drill last year, which was an opportunity for us to, as teachers and for kids, to understand that when they are coming off of a bus, what do they need to do to remain safe if we're providing them with guidance and information. Again, that was something that parents provided access to over to Class Dojo ahead of time last year when we did this. We will do another one again this year as well. And all of this is done with the state troopers, super supportive with that. We've practiced lunch and recess drills last spring. So kids understand that when they're in those locations, what do they need to do? If we provide them with the guidance that we need to lock a building down. Really one of the things we try to highlight is that we are fortunate in this building that we have a great number of exit doors headed into a wooded area. And so that if we can evacuate kids, that is the state troopers' guidance that is safest for us. I actually took the time last spring to attend a school-based reunification course that was held at Smith. And you can see there, there's many people across the county who are participating in it. One of the things they talked about is that whenever possible, evacuating kids is oftentimes the safest opportunity. And so the fact that many of our classrooms have exit doors right out of the classroom, and those exit doors lead into, a gully area here, forest area in the back, can provide protection and coverage to help our kids to escape. So it's a good, according to the state police, it's a good opportunity for our kids to have that. We as a school did a trial family reunification orientation in the spring, where we practiced it, and this fall we are actually going to be asking parents to choose to participate on a Wednesday in a family reunification drill after the school day is over. So it would involve parents volunteering to come on a Wednesday afternoon, and the state police would be here, and it would be an opportunity for us and the families to practice what they would need to do to be able to move through the reunification process. But we had a learning experience with the teachers and staff first, and now we're going to be inviting families to come in as well and be a part of that. So I'm really excited
That will
about
also involve local municipal partners too.
Yes, so the state police
They sort
are
of
here,
coordinating with
but
all the towns, but
our
they are
local
involved.
police are part of this as well, which is great. And then we had made sure that all of our staff who were new were trained on orientation day. I sat on that and supported that group. And that family reunification drill is going to be on October 15th at 1:15. We'll be looking for families to participate. We also are working directly with our local fire and police. We had our first fire drill on Monday. It was wonderful to have the fire department here, and I thank them very much. We've also planned for them to come back later in October and have an Erving Fire Safety Week. So to really provide our children with an opportunity to really get some support and training around understanding what to do in case of a fire, both here and in other locations. We really try to be proactive in our providing support for our children and our families.
I'm impressed.
It's a lot, and I'm hoping none of it ever needs to be used.
Agreed.
Well, good.
The biggest change this year is that we have assembled an extensive calendar of family and community engagement that I am really excited about. And these cover a variety of things. Our first evening is our October 1st open house. It is also coincides with the Special Education Parent Advisory Council meet and greet. And so I'm really hoping to see a lot of our families there on October 1st. We're very excited about it. We then rotate into a series of 4 technology safety nights. Those are evenings that I've partnered with our Abby, our librarian, and the Erving Public Library is phenomenal. They're going to host these evenings for us, and you'll see something in next month's, actually in this month's, around town. You'll also see some flyers coming out. The Family Technology Safety Night is actually geared toward all families, whether here in the elementary building or having moved on to middle and high school. And so that's why we're partnering with the library, and it's a chance for us to look at some of the more recent pieces around social emotional wellness and social media. There's quite a bit out there research-wise on social media and the impact it has on children. And so we're named this Keeping All Kids Safe, and so we're keeping our kids safe. And so we're really excited about that. There'll be a night in October, again in January, March, and May. Through the course of the year, there's also some curriculum evenings that teachers will be involved with. We have an ELA curriculum night in November. We have a math curriculum night in February, science in April, and then in June we'll have our arts enrichment night. I've included CPAC on here and our Veterans Day, which is a wonderful celebration we're all very excited about. The thing that I'm most excited about adding, and I'm really hoping we're going to get a great turnout for, I can draw your attention to March 13th, Friday evening. We will be reinstituting the school play. The school play will be an after-school activity. Children can voluntarily be a part of it. We have created, and by we have created, one of my summer activities was to create a script. The script I have created is Toy Story, The Great Cram, and Slinky Dog Rescue. It is a really exciting 45-minute look at how the toys from Toy Story will infiltrate Erving Elementary School to sneak into the 3rd grade classroom and save Slinky Dog that accidentally got left overnight in there. Our head custodian has agreed to play the part of the custodian. I will be making my
Stretch for him.
It's gonna be a stretch for him. I will be making my acting debut as principal. And I'm really excited about it because we've actually opened up the idea of an assistant director to a sixth grader. Sixth graders will have that chance to do that. We're gonna be having set work, and so kids who don't wanna be on stage but wanna be involved with sets can do that. And our music teacher will work on making sure all children who are participating in this have a clear and foundational knowledge of how to sing You've Got a Friend in Me, so that we can wrap up the entire play evening with a lovely ballad. So we're very excited to have the play back on our calendar.
Great.
And that is a wrap for my presentation.
Questions?
Are there any particular places or events where school committee presence or assistance would be useful or important or helpful?
So I'm going to say that I would love to have assistance in encouraging families to come to our technology nights at the library. I think it's a really powerful conversation we need to be having. If you saw the report from MIT over the summer, they talked about the very concerning trends around the impact of use of ChatGPT on brain development in children. There's also been a number of things around what's been going on with roadblocks, which I think is incredibly disturbing. And so it's just very important that we are able to get families out for these evenings at the library and helping to participate in that. We would certainly love to see people at our Veterans Day. The play would be a great opportunity to have people here. I'm hoping there'll be a big turnout for that. The curriculum nights are focused, the 4 curriculum nights are focused on really about partnering with our parents to help them and help us to better educate our children. So it's really going to be around techniques and things that families can do at home and things that we can learn to do better here to support our student learning. But I will say the Arts Enrichment Night will be a wonderful event, and hopefully you will all attend in June. That is an opportunity for our children to showcase their work from art as well as our musicians. If you got a chance to come to our concert last spring, the tribute to Queen was magnificent. I was very impressed with the kids and what they were able to produce as a beginner band. I think that was just a magnificent amount of talent. Having been through 21 other beginner band concerts in my lifetime, I'm going to tell you I've never seen one like that. This was by far the most talented thing I've ever seen. So I was really excited by that, and I would certainly encourage people to be a part of that Enrichment Arts Night and to see our kids perform that evening.
Okay.
And those drummers, they really went for it. I was so impressed by them.
Could I just comment on the principal's report? It may take something a little bit out of order on our agenda. With things going on in the world, I'd called our chair or sent a text just asking if they might put on the agenda safety of our kids, training of staff, safety issues, and you've addressed it magnificently. We didn't get to it on the agenda, but I'm very pleased that I didn't have to bring it up. You're ahead of the curve on this. Our kids are important. I can't express how important. And with things going on, having the staff understand and be trained in what to do instead of, gee, somebody's at the door or inside the door, what do we do now? It's just, I can't place a dollar value on it. Thank you very much for doing that. So I skip an agenda item, but that satisfied me and then some.
I'm very glad, and I'm really excited about this parent opportunity, because I think the reality is that, you know, we as adults, it's a very scary thing for us to see what's going on across our country. And I think that having an opportunity for our parents to engage in a training will alleviate some of the concerns regarding what goes on here, because they'll know that we do have a plan in place and that we have a structure. And I think that that's important. I want all of our families to know that keeping their kids safe is the first thing on our agenda every day.
Good.
I have one other question / comment. Is Eileen, who's the school in-house therapist, is she involved in some of these trainings? Like, will she be actively partaking or here for the kids during those trainings?
She's actually an outside consultant.
Yes.
That we, and so we will invite her to participate in that. Unfortunately, she's not usually here on Wednesday, so she wouldn't be participating in the parent training that we're doing. She has participated in the past in our orientation trainings and our trainings internally, though. So she's familiar with, you know, what
The
our
procedures of
are
Erving.
and
Okay.
whatnot.
Awesome.
But as far as being there on that Wednesday, I think we're going to ask for that. I don't know, because I'm not clear on what buildings that she's partnered with that she might be in on a Wednesday.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we do not have a report that I'm aware of from the Erving Educational Association, so we'll move on from that. Do we have a report from PI? Okay, not seeing any, we'll move on. Budget and Personnel Committee, is there anything that we want to share about that, other than the next meeting is October 20th? Again, it's before the joints, no, that's not before the joints.
It's an additional meeting.
Yep. Anything else we want to say about that? All right, moving along. Joint Supervisory Committee. So the Joint Supervisory Committee, let me just get the agenda, one moment. Met last night. It was the first one of the year. Mark or Kelly, feel free to jump in. They did reorganize the committee, much like we did tonight. So we have our chair and vice chair. Trying to think of the highlights that we want to mention. There was a discussion about the Hampshire Trust. Our insurance that we are a part of has gone up significantly. Thankfully, we here in Erving, the town pays the cost of that. But of course, we're all part of the same pie, so the money's got to come from somewhere. So I know the town has been working on how to manage that, but the price of our insurance has gone up significantly. And so we're going to have to just kind of be aware of that and stay in touch with the town to see how that's going to affect the school. Let's see.
Could I comment on the insurance?
Absolutely.
Just for someone who might be watching this meeting who's not watching previous meetings, everybody is fully insured. There's no question about it, although their premiums may be going up substantially.
Yeah.
So people may be looking at, do I want to adjust my plan during some open enrollment, whenever that is, or perhaps some special circumstance, but people are insured. It's not.
They are fully insured.
Yes.
The challenge for this has been, we anticipated, and Caitlin, if I get these figures wrong, correct me please. We knew they were going up. Municipalities knew they were going up, you know, and so it went up at the beginning of the year about 20%.
18% for HMO, 20% for PPOs.
So that went up on what the municipality, and to make this point, right, it might not affect the school budget, but it makes the pie in which we're a piece become, you know, a little bit more taxed. But it also impacted our employees because their portion out of their paycheck went up.
Yep.
Right.
Well, We took that hit, and then we found out in August, we need to raise it another 20% on both ends. So both the staff people, so they have had essentially a 38% out-of-pocket increase, and there are people. So I think we need to, be cognizant of the impact that that has on their households, and also our municipal partners, that, the pie has just gotten a really big unexpected bite taken out of it. And it's not unique to Erving, it's just about every gig around right now.
Yeah, I was told there's somewhere in the
Yep.
vicinity of 70 different entities that are part of this conglomerate where we get all the insurance from. And it's not from poor planning or lack of anything on anybody's part. It's just the financial situation of wherever this all comes from dictated they can't continue as they were, and they had to raise. Unfortunately, it was after we already had our budget set, so it's difficult to deal with. But main thing is, it is increasing out of people's paycheck. They'll notice that right away. And the town is dealing with it the very best that we can, and it's
But we
a
are still
work in
insured.
progress.
Yes,
Yeah.
everyone is still insured, that's a great.
Yes.
And we are the largest group in the town. The school is the largest employer here, so, we do make up the bulk of the
Yeah.
people in this plan.
Yeah.
And the Hampshire group also includes our other two municipal districts, so the towns Leverett and Shutesbury, and also our regional school district. So that's
And
the
all
only,
our regional partners.
yeah. So we're all, whether it's municipal or regional school district, we're all kind of trying to figure out, what our next step is.
Thank you.
So it's certainly something that is going to be continuing to be both, managed, and also any changes coming down, further down the road. Is there anything else that we feel like is important that I may have missed? We are talking about, Caitlin did mention that we are soon to be starting our budget process, that we tend to start that fairly early in the fall, and then continues on through the winter, and all the way ultimately until we get to the town meeting. So that's going to be starting in the next couple of months. Is there anything else that we feel that I may have missed? It's worth noting.
Not really, I don't think so.
Okay. Again, this was the first meeting of the year. So, next meeting will be in November. All right, so, old business. I do actually have an old business that it didn't get on the agenda, but I do want to bring up and make sure that we are continuing to think about, and that is our surplus equipment. We talked a lot about it last year. I know, Shannon, that you had mentioned that the custodians were working on putting together a comprehensive list of what surplus equipment we might have. So I'm looking for an update, because it's been an ongoing situation, okay?
Yes, so half of all the surplus material went out over the course of the summer. The truck was sent over, everything was taken out, half of it was taken out because the truck size was small, and pictures were taken, and those pictures were provided to Brian, and they are putting those things that can be, I guess, put on an auction site it's being done. Those things that were just outside of their livelihood, or were just so damaged that they, shouldn't have been saved, were, I guess, trash. We are waiting for the truck to come back for the other half of the equipment. It'll be photographed again when that does come back, and those items, and then that'll be posted as well. And then the entirety of the remaining storage unit that's out there will be emptied. But we own those two storage units. The one that we were paying for is long gone.
Mm-hmm. I do remember that. So in the past, the surplus has come through the school committee to approve it to go on to the town for surplus to the town. So it sounds like maybe that first half, that didn't happen. Can we make sure that that happens for the second half?
Absolutely.
I think we did provide a list, I don't think the list changed.
The list hasn't
When we
changed
brought
for
it
the
to school
springtime.
committee in late winter, late fall, early winter. We brought it, but then we had the Erving process is it goes to the selectmen.
Yep.
So I don't think that list changed,
It did
but I
not
will
change.
confirm that.
So that list was everything and then half of that went?
Right.
Okay,
Yep. There have been no additions to that list that was originally provided.
gotcha,
It's
Okay.
just the truck that got sent over was very small.
gotcha.
More of a trailer for the truck.
So when you say one of the containers will be empty, that's remaining,
There's 2 remaining containers that we own. We're gonna be able to empty out one.
and then what are we gonna do with it? Can we add it to the surplus?
No, I would prefer not to. I mean, we own it, 'cause I think it's better to keep it there. We could use that for, to be fair, we could use it for locked storage for the stuff that we're gonna shred at the end of any year anyway. I think we keep it there.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we're on to new business. So, first agenda item is the MASC annual conference. This is the conference that Shannon actually mentioned in her, superintendent report. I had made mention, Kelly, I don't think you had your email at that point, that, I intend to, attend that conference. And so we do have lines in our budget that will accommodate that. We don't, I checked in with our attorney, we don't actually technically need to take a vote on that, because we do have funding, but if people feel more comfortable taking that vote, knowing that that's where some of the money is going to go to, I'm perfectly happy to do that. Whatever,
I'd like to move that we authorize the chair to attend that seminar, conference, whatever it is.
Second.
did you,
I was just confirming that your functionality at this will be paid for by that line on the budget, like you're not covering the cost on your own.
yeah, yes, so because it's all the way in Hyannis, there will be, it's the cost of the conference, and then lodging.
Awesome.
And then, dinner, or whatever they charge for, this and that. I've actually attended years and years ago when I was on the committee. I attended, and they're really very useful, very, very informative. It's a conference for the entire state of Massachusetts, so a lot of school committees come, a lot of superintendent come, and so the workshops that they're providing are really interesting, and I think will be really useful for us here. So I hope to come back with a lot of information that I'm happy to share with everyone. So, great. So I'm sorry. How did you phrase your? Did we want to vote?
Yeah,
Okay.
And I seconded it.
Okay. So I guess all in favor of that?
Aye.
Great, thank you. We did touch on the Pioneer and Gil Montague potential redistricting. As I mentioned, they did put an ad out, or communication out to all of the area towns involved that there would be a vote taken. My understanding is that all of the towns have to agree to it before it can move forward. So if any one town chooses not to move forward with it, I believe they have to go back to the drawing board basically and work on it some more. So again, I think that's kind of why it's so crucial for us to have that representative. So I think it's great that Kelly, you decided to do it. I think it's time that we had one, and we'll go forward with that. Is there anything else that anybody wanted to say anything about that? Okay. We have some policies. We have some policies that we have a final vote on, the student conduct on school bus, the universal free school meals, staff conduct, and student conduct on school buses. So this will be a final vote. We've had them go through our process, and this is the final step on these. So we can take them all together, we can take them individually if somebody has anything they want to adjust or question.
I move that we take all 3 of them. I mean, all 4 of them.
All 4 of them.
As a group.
As a group? Okay.
And, because we have read and reread and reread, and so,
Sure.
do you want me to name them?
Sure.
EAEC, which is also JICC, EFC, and GBEB, and JICC.
So those reference where in the policy binder you would find those. There's a reason for the letters, but
But I don't know what it is.
we can talk about that after. So I have a motion to take them as a group. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion on these? All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Okay, so the final thing we have on our agenda is to go into executive session. Before we do that, I just want to remind everybody that our next meeting is October 21st. Budget and Personnel, Policy Committee will meet at 6:30. Our meeting will be at 7. And Dan, did you want to mention before?
Yeah, there's a couple of things that, before we end this,
Yep.
okay? And it may just bring them up now and find out more at the next meeting. There's a couple of things I'm just questioning. Where are we on our, what I'll call the in-house out-of-district project? If you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
In general, is that coming together? And the other thing is the, I don't know what you call them, service dog, comfort dog, whatever that issue with the having the dog in the school for help the kids, whatever you want to call it. And might we have these meetings that seemed nice in the library the last time, if we could set up there? I mean,
I
there's
think we voted for that, and Mackenzie did point it out, and I completely forgot. I didn't think anything of it, so we can move it to the library.
Yes, moving forward,
for-
definitely do that. I also had forgotten about that, and you're right, it's so much nicer over there.
Well, and it's a lot warmer in winter.
Yes.
okay. Yeah, I guess those were the 2 or 3 things I just had a question about, but I don't need an immediate answer. I just,
I can give you one answer.
okay.
The dog, we have finished the policy, so as far as this committee, we have a policy, an application process for if someone would like to bring a comforter therapy dog. We did the work of that committee.
Okay.
At this point, we have no applications taken out. Is that correct?
We are waiting, we have someone who I know will be taking out an application when a dog becomes available.
But we don't have anything right now.
We don't have anything right now.
Okay,
Well,
so,
not
So that's where this,
We're sort of
and then we'll
waiting.
start that process, but I think this committee went through and they were very thorough. We have a process and an application process, and so, at this moment, none are pending.
okay, so it's pretty much out of our hands now and in your hands, if someone
Right,
should
we've done, we
apply.
have a policy and a
Yeah.
procedure now,
Okay.
and there are lots of steps, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we talked, there are lots of steps and trainings and insurance and all
Okay.
that stuff. But we don't have any that are in route, right, in process right now.
Okay. And just by way of clarification, if somebody's watching who wasn't watching before, it's very expensive when we send kids out of district, because
Yes, so
they
we
need.
can give you that update.
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
can
We
certainly,
have our program is underway. We have just 2 wonderful children that I'm thrilled are part of it. We also may have additional children joining that program.
process, yeah.
Sort of in process. My understanding is we have a candidate who's moving into town.
Okay.
Maybe part of that program, so we'll see what happens with that. We recently hired a new special education teacher because a teacher moved from that role into something else within the building. And she is a wonderful addition and she works with our STARS program as well as our pre-K and our kindergarten students as well. So we're really excited about her and what she brings to the table. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's
Just-
really exciting.
As I understand it, this is something that saves the taxpayers of Irving money. It's less expensive in general than send them somewhere else. May save other people some money and convenience of not busing a kid all of creation and come here. Whether or not it ends up we make any money, I don't know, but we won't lose money, and it won't
And we
cost,
keep kids close to their home
Yeah, yeah.
communities, and I think that
just
that's.
good for the kids all around. Okay.
That's the focus.
I think the biggest excitement right now of that program is that the children who are participating in the program are also fully participating in our regular lunch. They come in and they have lunch with their on-age peers every
Good.
day.
Good.
And they go out to recess with their on-age peers. So it's not, last year it was usually specials that the children went to as a part of full inclusion, which was a great thing. The kids really enjoyed going to, going to library, going to art, going to PE. But now we've also added going to lunch, going to recess.
Good.
And we're looking to add opportunities for those students to be included within general ed tags like science and social studies and morning meeting. And so each week we're working on how we can expand those opportunities for children to be with their on-age peers.
Great, thank you. Thanks.
Absolutely. All right, so at this point, we're gonna move into executive session in accordance with open meeting law. Chapter 30A, Section 21, we're gonna move into executive session to discuss strategies with respect to collective bargaining. So we will, I need a motion to move into executive session. We'll roll call vote. We will not return to open session. So this will be the end of the meeting for our viewers at home.
I'd move we go into executive session for the reasons you just stated.
I second it.
So, roll call vote, so when you say aye, you say your name. So like Bailey, aye.
Hammock, aye?
Sykes,
Blatchley, aye.
Sykes, aye.
Great. Okay, thank you all for coming.
Thank you.